Today we will be looking at Wales' most notorious inmates. 1. Clive Sharp. Clive Sharp had lots of previous convictions from the age of 16. In 1996 he was jailed for 8 years for R. He was released before serving the full sentence. Irish vet Catherine Gowan went missing in October 2012. Her disappearance was the largest ever search operation by police in North Wales. They worked over a 25-day period. Her burnt-out car was found at a quarry near her home. Police divers also made a discovery in a river. Catherine Gowan's friend, Clive Sharp, was arrested within days. While investigating, the police found that Clive Sharp had some dark fantasies. At Clive Sharp's trial, it was heard that he crept into Catherine Gowan's home in the middle of the night. He then R'd her and took her life. He pled guilty and was sentenced to life imprisonment with a min term of 37 years on February 25, 2013. The 57-year-old remains in prison. 2. Andrew Jones. Andrew Jones used his wife's secret phone to lure her lover, Michael O'Leary, to a remote farmhouse before taking his life. An investigation began after he failed to return home from work and his family became very concerned. They later received a text from Michael's phone saying, "I'm so sorry." It came to light that Andrew Jones took Michael's pickup truck and drove to a car park where he sent the text message from Michael's phone to Michael's family. At Swansea Crown Court, Andrew Jones denied the charges, but he was found guilty. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with a min term of 30 years on October 19, 2020. The 56-year-old remains in prison. 3. Peter Moore. Peter Moore took the lives of 4 men. Peter Moore was arrested on December 22, 1995, and he initially denied all the charges. He changed his story in the early hours of Christmas Eve. The police searched Peter Moore's home and uncovered traces of DNA to all 4 men, as well as victims' belongings hidden in his garden pond. During police interviews, he hinted at other victims. He was handed 4 life sentences in November 1996. While in prison, he befriended Harold Shipman. He appealed in 2008 and in 2015. The 77-year-old remains in Wakefield Prison. 4. Brian Manship. Brian Manship took the life of Sarah Hassel in October 2019. They met in a pub and in the early hours of the morning they went back to his home. She was found in his house. He was found by the police in the woods wearing Sarah Hassel's jeans. On the 30th of July 2020, he was sentenced to life imprisonment with a min term of 20 years at Swansea Crown Court. The 42-year-old remains in prison. 5. Mark Bridger. Mark Bridger took the life of 5-year-old April Jones. It was described as the most shocking crime ever committed in Wales. On October 1, 2012, massive search operations involving emergency services and members of the public began as April Jones was reported missing. On the 2nd of October 2012, less than 24 hours after April went missing, Mark Bridger, a local man, was arrested because he matched a description of a man and a vehicle that April was seen talking to on the night of her disappearance. Fragments were found in his fireplace. He then said that it was accidental. On the 30th of May 2013, Bridger was found guilty and was handed a whole life order. In 2013, Bridger appealed against his whole life sentence. He dropped the appeal a month later, just days before it was due to be heard. Only several weeks into his sentence, he was attacked by another inmate. The 58-year-old remains in Wakefield Prison. 6. Ben Hope and Jason Richards. Ben Hope and Jason Richards took the life of schoolboy Amir Siddiqui at his home in Cardiff. It was a case of mistaken identity. Each were paid £1,000 to take the life of a middle-aged family man who owed money to a shady businessman. They wore balaclavas and were high, but they went into the wrong address. At Swansea Crown Court on February 8, 2013, Ben Hope and Jason Richards were found guilty and were sentenced to life imprisonment with a min term of 40 years. 56-year-old Ben Hope and 55-year-old Jason Richards remain in prison. The mastermind of this crime remains at large. 7. John Cooper. John Cooper had a long criminal history. In 1998, he was sentenced to 14 years for robbery. He was released from prison in January 2009. On the 22nd of December 1985, John Cooper took the lives of brother and sister Richard and Helen Thomas. He then burnt down their house. And on the 29th of June 1989, he took the lives of Peter and Gwenda Dixon, who were on holiday. These cases became cold, but because of developments in DNA and forensic science, in May 2009, John Cooper was arrested for these crimes. He was convicted on May 26, 2011, and charged with 4 life sentences without the possibility of parole. He was handed a whole life order. His appeal was rejected in November 2012. His most recent appeal is in April 2023. It's still waiting to be reviewed. The 79-year-old remains in prison. 8. David Morris. In June 1999, David Morris entered a house in South Wales. He went upstairs and took the life of 80-year-old grandmother Doris Dawson. Mandy arrived home, Doris's daughter, with her granddaughters. He then took the life of all 3. Katie was aged 10 and Emily aged 8. He washed his clothes and then left several fires around the house to try cover his tracks. When firefighters and the police arrived, they found the victims. He was charged and convicted in 2002, but this conviction was later overturned by the Court of Appeal after it found that he had not had a fair trial due to a conflict of interest. He was jailed for life for a second time in 2006. He has always protested his innocence, and there is a campaign to see him eventually free. He was never freed and passed away in July 2022 at the age of 59 at Long Lartin Prison. 9. Christopher May. Christopher May, the former butcher, met Tracy Woodford at the Skinny Dog pub in Wales and invited her back to his flat. Her family reported her missing to the police. Police officers went to Christopher May's flat, and this is when they realised he had taken her life. At his trial, he told the jury how he took the life of Tracy when he lost control during an argument. He claimed that she tried to steal from his wallet and insulted his child. It took the jury just 50 minutes to return a guilty verdict. He remained emotionless throughout the whole of his trial. He received a min term of 28 years. 58-year-old Christopher May remains in prison. 10. Matthew Hardman. In November 2001, vampire-obsessed 17-year-old Matthew Hardman entered the home of his 90-year-old neighbour Mabel Lyshan. He took her life and left one of the most disturbing scenes. All of the police leads went nowhere. So police put the case on Crime Watch, revealing the ritualistic aspects. More than 200 people got in touch with Crime Watch. The name of Matthew Hardman, who had been questioned in October 2001, kept coming up. They arrested him and searched his home, where they found magazines and books about vampires. They also found several internet sites bookmarked on his computer in a bid to find out how to become immortal. They also found DNA evidence linking back to Mrs. Lyson. He has always said that he's innocent, but in 2002 he was given life imprisonment. He appealed his conviction in 2003, but this was denied. He remains in prison. As of 2023, an application had been received relating to his case and a review is underway. 11. Samy Alory. Millionaire American businessman Samy Alory took the life of Nadine Boris in a Cardiff hotel room on New Year's Eve in 2014. Due to a fit of jealous rage, he travelled to Heathrow Airport and flew to Qatar, but was later arrested in Tanzania. He claimed that he heard the voice of God telling him to do it. He went on trial in Cardiff Crown Court and was sentenced to life imprisonment with a min term of 17 years on November 3, 2016. The 59-year-old remains in prison. 12. Terrence Wall. Terrence Wall tampered with the sky dish of his neighbour, retired lecturer Gerald Corrigan, on Good Friday in April 2019. Once coming outside of his home to check what was happening, Terrence Wall took his life. Gerald Corrigan had several operations, but he passed away on May the 11th. Terrence Wall was found guilty and was sentenced to life imprisonment with a min term of 31 years on the 28th of February 2020. The 44-year-old remains in prison. Thanks for watching. Until next time.